Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Fighting Fantasy. This is book 3, The Forest of Doom, and we are going to play it on 100% on hardcore difficulty, like the previous ones, like all other ones. So thank you for joining me, and let's begin. Fortunately, I don't need to explain anything in advance because the book is goes standard by the rules as much as we can go, so there are no deviations whatsoever, no special stats or tricks or anything really from the standard rule set. So if you're curious about how that goes, then check out the first part of this video series, the ones about the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, where I explain all the mechanics in detail. But in this one we are basically going the same way. I need to roll a pretty strong character though, because our 100% playthrough necessitates such an approach. We are going to see a lot of optional content, battles, etc. And so I need a character with at least 21 stamina, 10 skill points, wow, okay, and quite a high luck roll. So let's see if that works out. Okay, this is acceptable. I didn't expect our luck to be so great that we would roll all our stats so high quite early. Yeah, so that's great. Our character is generated, and as I've said, this is a pretty difficult one compared to the first two. It's not difficult to get through the forest, but we're going to see all the optional encounters, and that's going to be tricky. And regarding which potion to take, we are going... I wanted to take a potion of strength because we are going to have a lot of battles and incur a lot of damage. But I rolled only a end result of 10, with an end result of 10 for luck. And we definitely need at least 11 for that, so I'm going to take the potion of fortune with us. Unlike the first two books, I'm not going to be able to show you the majority of the content because this whole place is like a grid. It's really weird. The forest only has paths that go in the cardinal directions exclusively, so either north-south or east-west, like directly. Maybe they have some right angle bends in them somewhere. But it helps mapping out the forest, so that's great. But on the other hand, it means that there are a lot of parallel paths, and once again we're approaching from the south towards the north, and we are not allowed to backtrack whatsoever. So obviously we are going to have to skip some of the encounters, most of the encounters unfortunately. But I'm going to take a look at all the optional encounters along the way, so I'm not going to skip anything that catches our attention on our adventure, even if it's detrimental. So let's take a look real quick at our character. Here he is. We are playing as a vagabond, as a hobo, who has who can sell himself as as somebody of a higher stature, but we'll see that very soon. So I try to select an appropriate portrait, and we are going to consume our potion immediately because we need a high luck stat. So that's it. This is a pretty decent roll. I like this how we set out. 22 stamina is almost the maximum, 10 skill is the maximum, and our luck is also pretty decent. We don't have a lantern this time because obviously we don't need one. It's a forest, so we're outdoors. We have an infinite backpack once again, some standard leather armor, and a sword. We don't start out with a shield, but it's possible to pick one up. And once again, since we're playing on the hardcore hero difficulty, we're starting out with three portions of provisions this time. And in this time we have to be really careful how we manage our luck and provisions, because this adventure is going to be tricky. Hopefully I'll manage to complete it in my first attempt. That's it really, nothing else to stay. So let's start. May the luck of the gods go with us on the adventure ahead, and let's see what we are, who we are, where we are. We are an adventurer, a sword for hire, and we have been roaming the northern borderlands of our kingdom. Having always spurned the dullness of village life, we now wander the lands in search of wealth and danger. Despite the long walks and rough outdoor life, we are content with our unknown destiny. The world holds no fears for us, as we are a skillful warrior, well practiced in the art of slaying evil people and beasts with our trusty sword. Not once during the last 10 days since entering the northern borderlands have we set eyes upon another person. This does not worry us at all, as we are happy with our own company and enjoy the slow, sunny days hunting, eating and sleeping. So, we state that we are some kind of sword for hire, some kind of mercenary, but we have just spent the last 10 years in the middle of nowhere doing nothing. So we are not on a mission, not on a quest for anyone. We are just, you know, hunting, eating and sleeping. And we are content with that. So this is the lifestyle of a vagabond, if I've ever seen one. So I tried to pick an appropriate portrait for this guy. Obviously we are tough, we are resilient and we're resourceful, but we have little in the way of equipment. Actually we only start out with the leather armor and the standard sword. So let's see how fate has crossed our path this time. It is evening, and having feasted on a dinner of rabbit, spit roasted on an open fire, we settle down to sleep beneath our sheepskin blanket. How romantic. There is a full moon, and the light sparkles on the blade of our broadsword skewered into the ground by our side. We gaze at it, wondering when we will next have to wipe the blood of some vile creature from its sharp edge. These are strange lands, inhabited by weird and loathsome beasts, goblins, trolls, and even dragons. As the flame of our campfire gently dies, we begin to drift asleep, and images of screaming, green-faced trolls flicker through our mind. Suddenly, in the bushes to our left, we hear the loud crack of a twig breaking under a clumsy foot. We leap up and grab our sword from the ground. We stand motionless but alert, ready to pounce on our unseen adversary. Then we hear a groan, followed by the dull thud of a body falling to the ground. Is this a trap? Slowly we walk over to the bush where the noise is coming from and carefully pull back the branches. We look down to see a little old man with a great bushy beard, his face contorted with pain. We crouch down to remove the iron helmet covering his balding head and notice 2 crossbow bolts protruding from the stomach of his pulp, chainmail-clad torso. Picking him up, we carry him over to the fire and stir the dying embers into life. After covering him with the sheepskin blanket, we manage to get the old man to drink a little water. He coughs and moans. He sits up rigid, eyes staring fixedly ahead, and he starts to shout. I'll get them! I'll get them! Don't you feel, Gillibrand? Big Leg is coming to bring you the hammer! Oh yes, indeed I am, oh yes! The dwarf, whose name we now presume to be Big Leg, is obviously delirious from the poison-tipped bolts lodged in his stomach. Poor guy. We watch as he slumps down again to the ground, then whisper his name in his ear. His eyes stare unblinkingly at us, and he starts again to shout. Ambush! Look out! Ambush! Ah! The hammer! Take the hammer to Gillibrand! Save the dwarfs! His eyes half close, and the pain seems to ease a little. And as the delirium subsides, he speaks to us again, in a low whisper. Help us, friend. Take the hammer to Gillibrand. Only the hammer will unite our people against the trolls. We were on our way to Darkwood in search of the hammer. Ambushed by the little people! Others killed. The map in my pouch will take you to the home of Yastromo, the master mage of these parts. He has great magics for sale to protect you against the creatures of Darkwood. Take my gold! I beg of you, find the hammer and take it to Gillibrand, my lord of Stonebridge. You will be well rewarded. Bigleg opens his mouth to start another sentence, but nothing comes out except his last dying breath. We sit down and ponder Bigleg's words. Who is Gillibrand? Who is Yastromo? What's all the fuss about the dwarfish hammer? We reach over to the still body of Bigleg and remove the pouch from the leather belt around his waist. Inside, we find 30 gold pieces and a map. Alright, so the first action we do in this adventure is rob a freshly dyed dwarf. That's nice. And these questions are stupid. It's clearly stated that Gillibrand is the lord of Stonebridge, presumably a dwarven settlement or village or fortress or whatever. Yastromo is even more clearly stated to be the master mage of these parts. And the hammer is stated that it's the way to unite the dwarves against the trolls, whatever that means. This is a bit fuzzy, I'll admit that. Alright, it seems that we have an adventure on our hands, something to do instead of just roasting rabbits over an open fire. And we have also found 30 gold pieces, so we could just, you know, spend it all on drinks. But no, forget that. We are going to spend it on useful stuff, probably at Yastromo's. Let's see if we can get there. Jingling the coins in our hand, we think of the possible rewards which may await us just for returning a hammer to the village of the dwarves. We decide to try and find the hammer in Darkwood Forest. It's been a few weeks since our last good battle, and what is more, we are likely to be well paid for this one. And I'd like to point out that in just a few sentences we have highlighted the nice little rewards twice. So what a nice hero we play this time, right? We're going to do something, hopefully something that's you know, good, morally and ethically accurate, but only and purely for the sake of gold. So we are some real hero right here. With our mind made up, we settle down to sleep, having taken back the sheepskin blanket from poor Bigleg. In the morning, we bury the old dwarf and gather up our possessions. At least we are some decent fellow, we buried the poor guy. We examine the map, look up to the sun and find our bearings. Whistling merrily, we head off south at a good pace, eager to meet this man Yastromo and see what he has to offer. Okay, so this is the most primitive map I have seen in my life, but nonetheless, we know that Yastromo's tower is just outside or maybe at the edge of the forest to the south, so it should be relatively easy to find. We also know that the hammer is in the middle of the forest, or not, well, not in the middle, but somewhere inside the forest. So we need to cross it and find it. Furthermore, we know that a river crosses this forest, so that's something useful. And we know that Stonebridge lies just to the north of this place, so kind of makes sense. Let's go to Yastromo's, see if he can help us. Let's cross the place, hopefully find the hammer. Let's exit at the other end, and success is guaranteed. This seems like a very simple adventure. Our walk to Yastromo's takes a little over half a day, and we arrive at his stone tower, dirty and hungry. As the tower is set back on the edges of Darkwood some 50 meters from the path we have been following, it is a bit difficult to find. Finally, we walk up to the huge oak door, somewhat relieved to find that it does actually exist, and that Bigleg had not been speaking widely in his delirium. A large brass bell and gong hang from the stone archway. As we ring the bell, a shiver runs down our spine and we realize that the loud bong invades a deep silence which we had not noticed before. There are no sounds of birds or animals to be heard. We wait anxiously at the door and hear slow footsteps descending the stairs from the tower above. A small wooden slot in the door slides open and two eyes appear and examine us. "Well, who are you?" demands a grumpy voice through the hole. We answer that we are an adventurer in search of the master mage Nostromo, intending to purchase magical items from him to combat the creatures of Darkwood Forest. "Oh, well, in that case, if you are interested in buying some of my merchandise, you had better come up. I am Nostromo." He then turns and slowly climbs the stone stairs. And his home looks awesome. I love this style of decoration, and it's very exquisite, and it looks a bit extravagant for for a tower that's surrounded by forest. It's not like anybody can see this, but you know what they say, style is man himself, so, or at least we say that. So I like this guy already. He seems powerful. He definitely has his own fashion or style, and he seems to want to help us for money. So far so good. We could attack him, but I don't want to attack a master mage. We have nothing apart from our sword and some coins. So let's follow him up the stairs and see what he has to offer. We follow the huffing and puffing old man in his tattered robes up the spiral staircase to a large room at the top of the tower. Shelves, cupboards and cabinets line the walls, all filled with bottles, jars, weapons, armor and all manner of strange artifacts. Cool. Nostromo shuffles past the general clutter and slumps down in an old oak chair. He reaches into his top pocket and pulls out a fragile pair of gold-rimmed spectacles. Placing these on his nose, he picks up a piece of slate and chalk from a table next to his chair and he begins to write frantically. He then hands us the slate. Okay, so he wrote down a whole bunch of items to purchase from him. We'll get back to this list later because he tells us that all the instructions for use are written clearly on the labels attached to the items together with their suggested use. Awesome. He sighs and tells us that unfortunately the magic in the items only works once, but they are the best we can buy for the money. And I presume even master mages have to obtain their money from somewhere. I mean, these towers don't come cheap, right? Nostromo then asks us the reason for the purchase of the items, and we tell him our story and our decision to continue the quest of the luckless Big Leg. "Oh yes," Nostromo says slowly, rubbing his chin. "Haha, I heard that the good dwarfs of Stonebridge had lost their fabled warhammer. Without it, their king is unable to arouse his people, despite the fact that the hill trolls threaten his village. Rumor has it that an envious king of another village of dwarfs sent an eagle to Stonebridge to steal the hammer, which it managed to do. But as it flew over Darkwood, it was attacked by death hawks, and the hammer dropped into the forest and was lost. Apparently, two forest goblins found the hammer but could not decide who was to keep it. They wrestled for hours, but gave up. Then they discovered that the handle unscrewed from the head, and the argument was finally settled. One kept the head, the other kept the handle. Then they parted, each happy with his new treasure. Who knows if they still have them? So I'm afraid your problems are doubled. Ha! I can tell you that the head is made of bronze, and the handle is made of polished ebony. Both head and handle have the letter G, presumably Gillibrand, inscribed on them. Your task is not easy. Good luck." We thank Nostromo and we leave the room by the spiral staircase after we have made our purchase. Okay, so, but before we do, I have a few questions. How do you know all this? It says, you heard, and the rumor has it. Your information seems to be quite specific and quite accurate. I mean, I don't know if they are accurate, but quite detailed at the very least. So, you know that it was stolen by another dwarf tribe who sent an eagle there, which was attacked by deathhawks, and so the eagle dropped the hammer, and 2 goblins found it. They took it apart and they parted with each one with 1/2 of the warhammer, but you don't know where they are now, right? This is really weird. How do you know so much about what happened right after the hammer was stolen, but nothing after it was, you know, disassembled? This is really weird. Either this guy had a hand in this, or he's a total idiot. Maybe he has some, you know, information, like some surveillance system. Maybe some animals spy for him. But then, why didn't they follow simply the goblins? Anyway, if we are to trust him, and I think we should, then we know that we are supposed to find the 2 pieces. So our quest just doubled in difficulty and responsibilities. All the more reason to spend some of our hard-earned 30 gold pieces, and by hard-earned I mean we just picked it up from a dead dwarf, on some useful stuff. So let's see what items we want to pick up. Well, this glove of missile dexterity sounds useful. It's a purple silk glove that helps the wearer throw accurately. I'm 100% sure this is an item we want. Ooh, nose filters. This is supposedly a thick forest, so maybe some nose filters, which help block odors, will come in handy as well. Awesome. Oops, sorry, wrong direction. Look, an armband of strength. This armband increases the strength of the user's arm when worn. User's arm when worn. We'll definitely take one. I mean, we might have to wrestle some kind of big animal or creature. Awesome. Let's see what else he has. All these items are so enticing. Garlic buds. I've always wanted some garlic buds. They're great for cooking and also useful against vampires. So it's 2 in 1. Definitely taking it. Okay. What else do we have? Ooh, a ring of light. The wearer of this ring can see into the darkest depths. We definitely need to take such a thing, because we don't have a lantern. We are poor. Yeah, we don't have much in the way of possessions, so in case we ever need to peer into the darkest depths, we have something that will help us like that. We also... what else do we have here? Ooh, a rope of climbing. I mean, that's definitely something that we need in a forest like this. What if we fall into a chasm, or we need to climb one of the trees that is difficult to climb otherwise? It's a magical rope. I'll take it. Holy water. I always wanted holy water. Holy water sounds great. Useful against undead creatures such as ghouls, but even in standard form it sounds useful. Okay, let's stop here and let's see how much money we have spent so far. We still have 11 gold pieces. That's lovely. Okay. Well, we don't have many potions of provisions. Let's see what his potions of healing do. It's a potion that... okay, so it's basically the same thing as a potion of provision. We still are going to take a few, and by a few I mean 1, 2... let's see what else we have here. I don't think we need any of this garbage. I'm partial to gold. Gold is hard to come by in the middle of forest for hobos like us, but hopefully we'll get some rewards from from the dwarfs, right? So we just have to persevere, and then whatever gold we spend now will be regained doubly or triply or quadruply, whatever. So basically any investment here is a good idea, and there is nothing else to invest in but potions of healing, so I'm going to take another potion of healing. And we've fresh run out of 3 gold pieces. Okay, I don't think I want anything else from this guy. Besides, let's keep just some of the gold. Maybe we'll need it later, who knows. So, it's time to really thank Yatstromo for both the items and the advice. I'm sure he makes a nice little profit on this deal with us, but if these items help us survive the forest, then I won't complain. Let me just review what we have. Glove of Mistile, Dexterity, Nose Filters, 4 nose piece filters. Well, that they must have come with a discount or something. Armband of Strength, Garlic, Buds, we have a Ring of Light, Rope of Climbing, and Holy Water. Seems that we have everything we need for any kind of adventure to succeed. We thank Yatstromo and leave the room by the spiral staircase. And I think this is a great time to make the cut of the video here. We have just spent all our money that we just earned too, and we are about to truly start our adventure and delve into the depths and dangers and trials and tribulations that the Forest of Doom, Darkwood, has to offer for us. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.